Good.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Hi, guys. Thank you for coming to Seen It All and giving us the opportunity to interview you guys. Thank you for being here on the podcast. Thank you all. So right away to start off the podcast with you guys, what's made you guys combine fine cuisine with apocalypse, with the world destruction? Like, where did the idea come from, and how did it get developed into a movie? I just want to know from both of you guys.
Well, it's an obvious combination, I feel like, right? No, but honestly, it was just a good combination of minds. You know, we had Lando, who's the actor Nilo Butler. Me and him kind of came up with the concept, and then we brought in Kevin Jack, and then we all just kind of put our minds together on what could make the most ridiculous film that could ever have been made. And we just kind of went with it, and we just kind of kept building upon it. And when Kevin Jack came in, he brought in a lot of like, gosh, this character can be so ridiculous, but you cannot help but love him. And then we just kind of built upon that and created a whole adventure for him.
And what better than food?
Right.
Get together, right? You know, in a time of crisis. So that was when I initially got the script, and for our very first concept, I'm just looking at it. I'm going, who would this guy be? And he's an Army vet, so obviously there's going to be a backstory. And I think just through that, I'm thinking, okay, how can I portray that to where it's believable, but yet, like Kyle said, you can have an empathy and you love this guy and there's a heart to him. So that was just something, as we were toying around with it in the first place, just like you said, a great meeting of the minds. And then it really formed into our second concept and then into the film. So there was always some collaboration as to who John is, and he's so vital. Like, he's really trying to keep this community together. There is a quest that he's on, so there's a fine line and not going too crazy or getting too excessive, but keeping it kind of grounded to where people will realize this guy he's Gilligan, but also he's got a heart of gold, and that was certainly. Hopefully, we were able to, portray that and give that image off.
So were there any moments where you two disagreed on like how something should go and which direction did you end up going?
I knew.
I thought you had a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's so much. Kyle's mind fascinates me. What is in there, and so I thoroughly respected the entire script concept. In fact, it was more, could John do this? Could John do that? Or, could this happen, that happen? And it was a completely, I whatever he wanted me to do, I did. And within that, we, several scenes were done in different ways. We had different takes, different notions of maybe what we wanted. So if anything, like, hey, maybe there's a scene here where maybe I'm getting a little more emotional than maybe than you thought. So there were times where for certain scenes we did that, to where John is showing this, and then maybe we did it a different way. But it was totally collaborative. And at the end of the day, once you get into an editing room and you start forming your film, you're realizing, oh, well, that take, maybe that wasn't our initial focus, but okay, let's go with that take. That's I'm glad. That's why you do that. It's you do that so you have different interpretations to whatever fits into the film.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, there's one scene in the film that Chef John actually cries in, and when we did the first few takes, he did not cry, and we didn't want him to cry. But once we started playing with it more and more, not to speak for you, Kevin, but like, he started crying. And it was just one of those things where me and the editor had a really big back and forth on, should he cry in this moment? We're like, but Chef John is the little boy in us all who like believes in the spirit of the film no matter what. And why wouldn't he cry? He's kind of, this film is spoken through kind of the little boy and little girl in us all. And so why wouldn't we cry? Like, this is where I want to cry as the director. And so we let him cry in that scene. And yeah, it just kind of, it worked well for the film. So it was really nice because Kevin is such a talent, and he gives us such variation on whichever take what we want to work with. And he gave us so many different options that we were really able to, in the edit, choose what we want to go with. And we played with that on set, you know, where it should go. But um, a lot of the final decisions were made in the edit. And we were able to use Kevin's talent to kind of elevate where we were trying to go with the story. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Good job. Joe, your question.
Hi, I'm here in Arizona. I think you pretty much answered the question earlier. I was just going to ask if there was any scenes that almost didn't make it on the final cut that you wish that you were happy that made it, but you weren't, that wish you didn't make it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, we had a few that like ended up getting cut. So Minnie and Molly, the two camera gals of the children of the show, they were actually mine and Zuzu Weingart's daughters. Zuzu plays Laura in the film.
Oh, they're really adorable, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think they're the best, right? But we rolling. Yeah, that's Charlie's favorite line. But when we were filming it, we were filming in Montana has a lot of battles. So we had smoke roll in like day one of filming. So much smoke rolled in from the wildfires, because we have wildfires every year. And so we had to pivot and move all of our scenes that were supposed to be outside inside. So like all of John's camper stuff was supposed to be filmed outside in the actual elements. They were supposed to be night shoots. But for SAG rules and just for like common sense rules, we couldn't film outside because the air quality was so bad that it was unhealthy. So we moved a lot of the stuff inside, and we got a lot of their stuff done, but there was still a lot of stuff to do with the girls. And so we pushed it to the very end of the shoot to do. And when it all kind of lined up, it was kind of like schedule wise, we weren't supposed to do it. There was supposed to be a whole scene where Chef John prepares for his journey and then steps outside, and the girls are like, "Oh, hey, we're coming to stay with you. And you're not going on this journey." And when it came time to shoot it with SAG rules and just with mom and dad's rules, it wasn't going to happen. It was 10 o'clock at night. The girls were running on however much sleep. And I'm just like, I remember talking to AD, like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. As a dad and as a director, like, we're not going to get what we need. The girls need to go to sleep. They're done for the day. And so we ended up cutting a scene where they kind of tell John, hey, this whole hero squad has gone on without you. And we ended up reshooting that scene weeks later. And then still after trying to put that into the edit, we're like, this actually works without it. So those were really the only scenes that didn't make the cut from the script, were those scenes that we had decided that would be cuttable and then ended up being cuttable,
Okay.
So.
And it was a good transition, because I mean, as a viewer, you're kind of thinking, well, if everyone in the scene is now somewhere else, who's with the kids? Who would be the responsible one? And it's just a quick cut to, people that might be on another planet in their wheelchairs. Makes sense.
Yeah. Right. It kind of makes the joke a little bit more. So yeah, it ended up working out. Yeah.
For me, for Kevin, how did you know about those dishes? Like, when you talk about all the cuisines, I'm like really impressed. I was just like, wow, he knows his stuff. So did you do research, or like, how did you even like a lot of that stuff? I was just really impressed when I was listening.
Yes. I love food shows. And I've been in the restaurant industry for over 20 years. So, for example, the Chateaubriand, we serve that at my steakhouse. So, and I remember bringing that. We were just going over certain things, and it is an amazing cut of meat. So, for, the red wine pan dripping sauce and all of these things. Paella. Yeah. So Kyle's worked in the restaurant industry as well. So we're aware of foods that were enticing and that sound great. I mean, when you say Chateaubriand, like it's, you can't help but bring a smile to your face. Cause even when I describe, to a table, what it is this beef tenderloin, it's the center cut portion of the filet. Like, you don't really want to do that, but I say Chateaubriand, and there's always, oh my gosh. Get back. So the fact that you're asking that question means that worked.
Yeah.
The
way you pronounce a lot of the foods, also you were like really good with it, like
shakshuka.
Yeah. To that, Kyle did. He's like, we're gonna do shakshuka. I'm like, what is that? Look it up. I'm like, oh my god, I've seen this like on Top Chef or something like that.
So good.
It looks really good. Yeah.
But man, that was really impressive. I'm really like, I was an hour when I was just listening to that. I was like, man, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have any fans like reached out with any wild theories of like what the movie really means or their interpretation of it?
Totally. I feel like I've been accused a lot of, as a guy who has moved down to LA to pursue a screenwriting career and then ended up moving back to Montana to find what I really wanted to do. I've been accused of like, oh, this is an autobiography, right? Because that's exactly what Chef John wants to do. I never saw it that way, but apparently it kind of does make sense. But in a lot of ways, I think it's a universal story of, kind of the hero's journey within us all. It's like, well, we have, our act one of like who we are and what we are about. And then every one of us steps out and tries to do something big. And then in the end, we do end up kind of coming back to who we really are and incorporating that with what we learned along the way, which is what Chef John does in so many ways in the story and what Kevin encapsulated, and everything he did. So
it's like my quest too. I mean, this is like my first feature role. So in a way, like I'm pursuing my dream. And that's kind of, I hopefully utilize that in the film because that's exactly what it is for me. But I will tell you, I do have a few people who have said, now, you guys show us a UFO within the first 10 seconds. What's going on? And, hang out. There might be a few other projects in the future. There's a reason for everything. But I think I think they're just they've had so much fun with the zombies and robots and that sort of battle and the quest that these heroes go on. So nothing but like just a positive sort of like, it took, they were so engrossed into what was happening and excited about it and wanting to see how it was going to get to its fruition. And they're excited, for future projects as well. Like, what does it all mean? And who is Chef John and who is Laura and who is Lando and Andy, backstories. And what about that UFO? What does that all mean? So there is I've definitely gotten some questions from people who have seen it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
This question's for Kyle. I was wondering if there's any biggest challenges during the filming, like the budget or the tone of the movie, or even keeping people from laughing on the set.
Just all of those, man. So, with Chef John in particular, there was a little pushback at the beginning. Like, I think this guy's a little too positive in what's going on, but I've always pushed so far. Like, well, he's Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. Like, he, with the heart of gold, you can't help but love him. Even though he kind of foils everything, but I always wanted him to come back to like show who he really was at the end. So we shot most of it at the beginning, all of the beginning stuff. We ended up shooting the end stuff at the end. So, most people started to kind of shut up towards the end. They're like, oh, I see it now, but there was a lot of pushback at first with the character. Unlike, I think he's too much, but that's a note on me, not on Kevin as the actor, because he was taking my direction. But he was just too positive and too much. But then once they saw it all together, like, oh, I get it, I totally understand it. Where this character is kind of like the Michael Scott where, yeah, he's so much and he believes, but his morality is not evolving. His morality is solid. Like, he doesn't contradict himself throughout. He always has the same constant morality, whether it's, in the beginning, it's believing in your dream no matter what. At the end of the movie, it's believing in your dream no matter what. It's just the audience's focus has shifted throughout.
Okay.
And then logistical battles, the smoke came in. Yeah, right on day one,
Right.
where we had this whole village built outside of New Missoula. And we had to move all of our sets inside a studio. And we had a amazing art team that kind of brought everything in and was able to bring in everything we'd really see, inside the studio, which ended up working out, which was just a huge logistical battle because the schedule was kind of all over the place because we had decided to shoot, like, we had our whole schedule figured out. And then we're like, okay, 2 days before the production, we have smoke rolling in. We have to reschedule everything to whatever we can shoot inside.
Yeah.
So we had to bring in John's camper inside. We had to bring in Wallace's kind of, we had called it the common tree on set, but it kind of now feels like a church set, on screen. We had to move all that inside, which was never supposed to be inside. And shoot everything that we could inside. And then so when we had Kevin Sorbo on set, we had tried to push everything off until hey, once Kevin Sorbo's on set, we can shoot outside again. But it was still kind of lingering and unsafe, and we weren't able to shoot on, outside. But I remember Kevin Sorbo being like, let's shoot outside. I can shoot outside. Let's do it, And he was, once somebody like that says yeah, we're shooting outside. We're like, all right, guys, we're shooting outside, but yeah.
The Hercules kicked back in, right?
He kicked back in. Yeah. And we stepped outside and we shot a lot of his stuff. So at the very end of the movie, when you see him taking the role of the sheriff and he's like, hey, the vote's in, I'm the sheriff. That was one of the first scenes we shot outside of the whole production and you can still see there's a lot of smoke in the air. Yeah. You can't see the mountains or anything like that. And we had talked a lot about, taking it to VFX and replacing the skyline. But at the end of the day, we were like, I think it works as it is, and let's put the VFX budget to where it really needs, which is the robots,
My question is for Kevin. So what was the hardest scene for you to shoot? Was it the one where you're fighting the robot and getting stabbed, or when you're cooking outside and the zombies are all coming at you and everybody's fighting and you got to concentrate on just cooking? What was hard for you? What scene was hard to do?
Spatulas, guys. Spatulas. I mean, I think it was about a month and a half or two before I was to go out there. I'm in Los Angeles, and he had said, Kevin, so I got this great, I want John to be able to spin spatulas and do all these things. And I'm just like, okay, cool, all right. And I went to a restaurant supply store, bought some spatulas, right? Got on YouTube, started looking over some, how people were doing it, and figured I think I got this. And I did not even remotely. And I was doing it at work. I was literally at my place trying so hard. I could not get these things to spin. And I was terrified when I got up there. Kyle did bury the lead because I did not know that he worked at a hibachi type restaurant. So that's why he was so good at it. So because you learn that craft. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're going to do. So in the lava land scene, when we're in that circle, with the battle with Andy and the lava and what's that guy's name again? Oh, Blaze. I had told Kyle, there's a scene where I'm doing with the spatulas, and I said, look, don't cut. I'm gonna try and do something to where who wants a piece of this? And so I kept spinning, and if you notice on the very first one, you see the spatula fling off. I personally think it's funny that with all of John's greatness. Like the thing that he can cook a chateaubriand like that. Like he can make all this amazing food. They can do all these things. It'd be cool if you did have something that he's not good at. Like imagine if there is that one thing that he's trying to master. And so when that thing flinged off, that really did happen. And I went and picked it up and we just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. There did come a point where I got 4 in a row. And I remember I went like 1 and then 2, And so if you're watching the film, he's got close-ups where you just see these beads of sweat. And that's because I was trying so hard. I think we went about 15, 20 minutes. The cast behind me had no idea. So like even Neil was like, okay, what is this? What are you doing? Like, when is this ending? Why are we keep doing this? And we finally got it to where it was really funny. So once we did the Who Wants a Piece of This, it all worked out. But that was horrifying for me, was those darn spatulas. And I know when we do a future cuisine, I'll have it down. I'm going to work my butt off to make sure I have that, to where at least John knows how to do it. Like he's kind of I just thought it would be funny, and at least in this first installment, that he didn't. And so when you see that fling off, that really did happen. So that, yes, that was the scene. Was
Yeah. I took a lot of flack for that because literally me and Kevin were the only ones who knew, like, we're not going to cut, Kevin, until you say cut. And after it all wrapped, the camera guy's like, dude, what the hell? Why didn't you call cut? I'm like, well, I was waiting for Kevin to call cut. And he's like, well, you got to tell me that kind of stuff. And the rest of the cast was like, yeah, why? You didn't tell us any of that. And I'm like, dude, we're moving so fast. Like, this was just me. This was me and Kevin. And he ended up giving us so much to work with. The editor had so much fun working through that to be like, all right, this works. And even the idea of like him flinging that flat spatula off wasn't intentional, but it worked really well for the character, like his imperfections. And 100%, Kevin, we'll get it in the next one for sure. I have a whole thing planned.
All right.
Oh, I like to hear this.
So with the both of your food industry backgrounds, for each of you, what if you could cook one dish that represents either you or the movie, what would it be and why?
Woo! I loved the scene with Sweet Melissa and the prime rib. That was a beautiful piece of meat. And I remember we were doing a lot of takes. So I know the chef that came in and brought it did eventually have to come up to me and say, okay, you're going to need to cut a lot thinner. Because I was kind of cutting like bigger pieces. I remember, and we did have like that, the board where like the juices would sort of like and drain off.
The true board.
Yeah,
that was a product placement. Yeah.
Product placement. But I remember looking at that, going, "Oh, this would be fantastic to get this." However, on a rotisserie, smoked, barbecue, the whole bit, like that big piece of meat was a good time. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to say corned beef hash. And the reason I say that is because it's all about the preparation and how it's served. So a lot of people think that corned beef hash, like, oh, the freshest corned beef hash is the best with the best corned beef, but it's actually not that way. In my opinion, canned corned beef hash is superior. And where it comes straight out of a can and it has kind of the smashness to it and you get it crispy fried on the grill, that could only come through from it coming out of a can. And I think that in a lot of ways, that's what Cuisine de l'Apocalypse is. It's like, it's not always about how it's prepared. It's about the setting to which it's prepared in. And I honestly think that might be a theme of Cuisine too. But yeah, corned beef hash in the can is far superior to fresh corned beef hash all day, every day.
Yeah, and fresh is just so dry and it's
right?
way different.
Okay. It is. It's a whole different experience, and restaurants try to pass it off like, oh, it's fresh corned beef hash. Like I've literally gone into restaurants and they'll be like, "Oh, you got to try a corned beef hash." I'm like, "Well, is it canned or is it fresh?" And they'll be like, "Oh, it's fresh. Don't worry." And I'm like, "Oh, gotcha. I'll take the biscuits and gravy." And they're kind of like, "Oh, okay." And I'm just like, "Yeah, unless it's canned, I don't want it."
Wow.
It's all about the setting to which it's prepared in.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of preparing, Kevin, I just didn't know if you had any additional comments on how you prepared for your role for this movie and the emotion and everything in the character.
Uh, I mean, really, like the food knowledge that we had definitely worked out for those scenes.
Right.
As far as, you know, scene by scene by scene, Kyle and I were lockstep on what it is that we wanted to do. I did want to portray. Look, wearing camouflage and a chef's hat, so I know that within all the dialogue that's going on, people in the back of their mind are going, "Okay, like what? So what is he like? What did he do?" And so that's why it was so important. I think as I was evolving in it to make him likable, to make people kind of question, like, yeah, what do you think this guy did in the army?
Right.
So
Okay.
I wanted that to come through. And then, like Kyle said, there were scenes where just in my preparation, I would get emotional, and I'm going, okay, what does that mean? And we can do different little takes here and there. As far as like, the comedy and the pratfalls and the things like that, my hero is John Ritter.
Oh,
Watched
yeah.
Three's Company as a kid.
Right. Yeah.
He's one of the great physical comedians of all time, and so when I grew up, like that was always something I was like, God, if I could ever like do something like that. So
That's cool.
here, like that was certainly a reservoir that I went into because I would do that always as a kid, even in the restaurant. If I'm walking and somebody's kind of walking into me, I'll do like a little pivot move, like a football move, or I'll accidentally throw myself against a wall, and they're like, "Oh my god," I'm just kind of playing. But there were things like that I kind of brought in, and I give him all credit for that because he was a hero of mine growing up.
That's cool. Okay. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
He's great.
Great. So, guys, we're coming to the end here. So, just a little quick round of questions, and then we'll let you guys go on to your day. Just real quick, the sequel, what's the name of it? Do you guys have an idea? And then any projects or anything that you guys are working in the future, if you guys want to promote, I know we're promoting the movie right now, but anything else, let us know. The floor is yours for both of you guys.
Cool. Well, yeah, we definitely want to do a sequel or perhaps a TV show, maybe even both. If we had a sequel, it would be about another chef trying to make his own cooking show called Armageddon Hungry, and and then Chef John kind of trying to suss that out, and then seeing what it's like to see somebody who's actually in it for the money or in it for what they truly believe. Which Chef John is the one who truly believes in everything that he does. Like there's no fakeness in Chef John. As ridiculous as he is, everything he says is authentic and he truly believes in it. And then him just kind of figuring out the situation and, well, is somebody trying to exploit this idea or, is it for real? And then everybody else, there's big backstories with everybody from Hurricane to Laura to Lando, which get more explored in the sequel. And I just can't wait to do that. I think it's going to be great. And I just can't wait to see what Kevin Jack brings to the next one.
For me, like this is, like I said, my first feature. So, it's like back to reality. I'm currently looking for an agent. So this film allows me that opportunity to get reels together and sort of get this out to where I can do it. I know before COVID, I did a couple of proof of concepts for some features. We're still seeing if that's going to come about, but right now it's take advantage of this moment, and hopefully it'll parlay into something so that when the next one comes out, I've got some things behind me to where people are like, oh, okay, we know who this guy is, and it'll make it that much more better. But it just inspires me to get going, to really take advantage of this time that I have. So That's what's happening right now. So if there's an agent out there in Hollywood, like, you think I'm okay, give me a call or get in contact.
Well, thank you guys. Have an amazing day, and we love the movie, by the way. So thank you.
I do.
We'll do a movie review on it here pretty soon. So,
All right.
but thank you guys. All right.
Yeah, you
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.